I'm Bill Gross, and I'm along with my colleague
Patricia Castillo.
and our colleague
Gustavo Segura. How you guys doing?
Great. And we do this every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific. We do it 8 p.m. Eastern, all times in between. We record it. We also live stream it onto YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, blah, 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 blah. And I was just, Patricia and I were just sharing, and I'm sure Gustavo was agreeing, because how could you not agree, that, in life, if you don't have problems, that's a bad thing, because we solve problems. That's how we make progress. And in real estate, really, that's the job. The job is you get a problem and then you solve it, and you get another problem, you solve that, you just keep moving through the process. Mm-hmm. And so when I coach real estate agents, I always say that don't complain if you have problems. You want to brag about the problems you have, because you'll solve those and you get some new problems as a result of your good work, right?
Absolutely. Well, it's also a time for us as professionals to educate our clients along the way, whether they're buyers or sellers, and also educate them on the fact that, there's always a solution. And so we help navigate those solutions. There might be a delay with closing. There might be shortage of money in some case, but there's always a solution. So we definitely work through those solutions and also provide, the light at the end of the tunnel, even during times that could be very stressful.
When I went to a Tony Robbins training, one of the things he does is to document this is, if everybody said, I'm frustrated, right? The natural reaction is, oh, that's too bad you're frustrated. He would do the opposite. He would turn to the audience and say, she's frustrated. And then the whole audience would stand up and give him a standing ovation. Yay, you're frustrated. Why? Because that means if you're frustrated, that means you have the energy to break out of that problem, and hopefully you'll grow from that. The way to grow is that frustration pushes you through that. And so real estate is just a collection of problems. I'll share with you guys, I had an interesting one this week. So I represent a buyer, I don't do that very often, who's buying a property in Malibu. And as you know, Malibu had terrible fires over the last few years. People are very sensitive to the area, to the fire issue. And this house is not like on the canyon, but it's close enough to where if the neighborhood is to go into fire, it'd be a problem. And this is the first time I've had a case where we looked at the fire hazard defense disclosure
advisory,
and because this one was in a high zone. Right. My first time, I'm a city boy, but this one was in the high fire area. And it was interesting because the buyer, and the seller in this case, checked that they weren't responsible for anything. Well, it turns out, and I didn't really know how this worked, but I had a chance to really do a deep dive. If what happens is the county assesses every parcel, literally parcel by parcel, and for every 15th, you get a letter if you're in one of these zones. Now, the good news is we use services like NHD that will check and tell us if it is or not.
Right.
If you're in the zone, you get a letter saying you're in the zone. You have a chance, and February 15th, you have a chance to appeal if you shouldn't be. But if you are, you need to have an inspection to verify you're clear. And that happens around June or July. And then that's good for like 6 months. And so you're obligated as a seller or owner in those areas, you're obligated to know the status, and if required, get an inspection and be clear of your inspection. Well, this seller lives out of state. The property is tenant occupied. And even though not even the agent got the broker involved because he was an expert in Malibu. And he told me in one 20-minute conversation, 5 times he lived there for 40 years. I said, well, that's nice, but the law wasn't passed in 2021. So it doesn't matter how long you've been there. The law is new, and your seller apparently is saying, well, we never got the letter, hard to believe, and therefore didn't comply last year, and we're acknowledging that. And then now they're in a position where they can't comply this year, and they're asking my buyer to kind of buy into their lack of compliance. And so I think that this is one of those things where, as a homeowner, it's really like living life as an adult. You can't just say, I didn't know, because your neighbors, they don't want your house on fire because you put them at risk. And so we're all kind of in this together. And so the system is, at its face, I don't know if it works or not, and I know it's well intentioned, but it's really complicated. And if you're a homeowner, you don't ignore your responsibilities. You should be looking for the letter. And then as a result of that, make sure you get your inspection done in the right time, because you can't just put your head in the sand. In this case, the seller's hoping to. They're trying to say, well, we don't think about it. And my buyer is going to get a private inspector to say, well, here's what we think, and here's what it would cost to mitigate. If anything, might be nothing. But it's just one of those things where we have these new regulations, and that you have to be aware. And the thing that I find fascinating is here I'm showing to my age, I don't live in Malibu. I haven't been to Malibu other than this property ever in the last 3 or 5 years. I actually go to Malibu regularly as a favorite restaurant, but I've never seen the house. But here's an agent with a prominent company and a big name, and they'll tell you how experts they are. And yes, Rhonda, that's fine. Or whoever is listening, yes. But I think sometimes real estate agents don't know the answer and just give answers rather than really know the answer. And you got to take the paper and read it and look at it and understand it. I had a chance to talk to my broker at my company. I had a chance to talk to the California Association of Realtors hotline on the subject and really get great information to bring to my buyer to say, here's the actual information. It doesn't matter if I lived in Malibu for 10 months or never or 40 years, the law is the law, and here's what you need to do to comply with it. So all that's a long way of saying that communication is so important. Expertise is so important. Don't just trust somebody because they sound like they know what they're talking about. Many times I find people will say all kinds of stuff. They know nothing what they're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it makes a difference too when you're representing a buyer, because obviously they're making that investment. They're going to be living there for quite some time. And you want to know also what your budget is going to look like, and about the time that you're living there. You're going to have to keep up with the insurance. And if you have to get an inspection as a new owner of the property, you want to know what that's going to cost you, if there's a fee, and what you need to do, how you're going to handle that responsibility going forward. So especially like in your case, the seller's out of state. If you think that maybe one day you might turn it into a rental and move away yourself, you're going to have some process in place to keep up with those requirements for the property inspection and insurance.
Yeah. Hey, you better check your mail. I mean, that hasn't changed in my lifetime. But no, I'm being flippant here. But yeah, no, I think having an agent who is proactive and takes these things seriously, because like I said, this guy literally said 5 times he lived there for 40 years. So he knew everything about all we ever do is this. And the reality is laws are changing every day in real estate. Regulations are changing on areas of tenancy and tenants and evictions and fire hazards and all kinds of things. And in lending. And so you better be up to date. And even though I've been in the business 36 years, every day I'm learning something new and,
Sure.
committed to learning, because the business moves very quickly and we can't rely on what we did in the past.
Yeah. And the closer you are, or the closer the property is located to an extreme, fire hazard area, your insurance is going to be more expensive.
Well, insurance is going up anyhow. I think one of the things that if you're a homeowner and you haven't got your homeowner's insurance increased yet, it's either coming or they're just going to cancel. I mean, that's all that's happening is insurers are either fleeing California or raising their rates dramatically. I haven't heard anybody say, "Oh, I got renewed. It was a great price." Nobody, I don't know yours, but just
nobody's bragging about their insurance premiums.
Or in the city of LA, our gas bill. My gas bill went from like $20 a month to $740 last month. And I get this little report that says we're like better than average on our usage for somehow $740 for gas. I'm not talking gas in my car like I drove to Palm Springs every day. I'm talking about the heater, the stove. It's just me and my wife and the dog.
Right.
It's probably the dog, but probably the dog's turning on the heat or something.
Yeah.
I wanted to just take a quick minute to welcome our participant today. We have Rhonda Layton-Jones on the call, or I think her daughter's on the other. So they have two screens going. So welcome to the call. If you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask the questions, or you can put the questions in the chat box, and we are happy to provide you with any information. So Rhonda's asking, can you use a first-time homeowners program with a duplex? So Gustavo here is our lender, and Bill and I, we can answer this question, but it does, I think you also want to know more information about the financing and how that would take place. whether you're looking to live in if you're going to occupy the duplex as your first home. And I know FHA is a really good program for that. But Gustavo, would you like to provide them with more information about the financing options for first-time homeowners and if they're purchasing a duplex?
Yeah, I mean, and like you mentioned, FHA program allows you to put down that low down payment, that 3.5% on a duplex, allows you to live in one unit and then be able to rent the other one out. That rent can help offset the liability. So it's a really great way for a first-time home buyer to really take advantage and be in a investment home. So definitely take a look at that if it's something that within your range and you're looking at. I can definitely provide you with more information. But it's a great opportunity instead of going conventional where you have to put down more on the down payment. So definitely it's a great program.
Yeah, so if you're, and it depends too, if you're, Rhonda, if you're planning on, that would be one of the terms that we use as considered house hacking. So you're living in one unit and renting out the other to provide you with additional income every month to help, contribute towards a mortgage payment. So that would, if you are planning on renting out one of the units, let's say, then that would provide you with that additional income. So it helps to offset some of the mortgage, and it also affects how you qualify for the purchase. So it's beneficial, in other words, to have one unit rented out as opposed to, let's say, maybe you as a homeowner and then one of your relatives are living there or your kids, and maybe they're just, whatever the agreement is for the rent. But if you had it rented out for like market value, well, I'm sure that would probably be more, right? Because I don't know, if it was my daughter, I probably wouldn't charge her market rent. I'd probably give her a little bit of a break.
My daughter could afford to pay full price, so I think I would charge her full price. She knows her making good money, so
we're gonna stick it to her.
Well, no, because I can make more money from her, and I can buy more gifts for my grandson. So I wouldn't want to give her the discount. I want to give the discount to the grandson.
Right.
Well, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so if I were to get on the mortgage with her, but I don't want to live there, she would be a first time, but I wouldn't be considered a first time. Would that change the first time home buyer process at all?
No, you'd be okay. You'd be okay. As long as she's a first time home buyer, you're allowed to have a non-occupying borrower in that scenario. So that would be you, and you're helping her to qualify for that. Yes. But now we do have to take a look at your liabilities and see, what you have. So if you own already and you've got a mortgage, or if you're renting, then they're going to take that into consideration, your liabilities with your combined incomes, to make sure that you can carry your part of your liabilities and also help with her if she needs help in being able to adjust the liabilities for that duplex. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked to you about paperwork and stuff like that. And
yeah. Love to be able to help you out. Yeah. I'll put my my phone number and email in the chat, and I can give you more information about it, and I can help you go over some more questions. That will be great, so that you can be completely, informed about what we need in order to move forward with a quote.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Rhonda, I'm sending you a message right now because I see I have your email address here as a registration for the workshop today. So basically, every week we cover different topics, and then we answer questions like this. So in real time. So I'm going to send you an email and just, with my contact information, but I also wanted to.
You guys wasn't here last week though, were you?
No, we recorded the video and then we sent it out afterward.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry we missed last week. I have a little personal situation going on in my life that caused me to miss at the last minute. So
life shows up daily.
Life, whether I want to or not, God's got a plan, and He didn't ask me. So
okay,
because I know better, I would tell Him exactly what to do. That's part of my problem. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. All
just
Yeah,
wanted
so
to-
I wanted to just introduce, we've talked about this before, but I wanted to, reintroduce the scenario that Gustavo can provide, which is do you want to explain to her about the soft pull for the credit?
Yeah.
Versus the hard pull, and what each scenario looks like for them as a applicant for a loan, for a mortgage.
Yeah, definitely. Every home buyer is going to need to have a mortgage credit report done. So every lender you speak with, they're going to want to pull what is called a hard inquiry on it. When you do that hard inquiry, your credit score may change by 5 points or so. It doesn't really hurt it. You're allowed to shop around. That's something that is normal. But you are going to get a lot of lenders buying your data from the credit bureaus. You're going to get like 50 calls, text messages, emails. Everybody's going to be calling you about it.
Okay.
It makes it very intrusive, and it's something that I avoid by doing what I call a soft pull. A soft pull allows me to see your credit history and your liabilities, but it does not count as a hard inquiry. So that way your data is not sold, you don't get bothered, you're able to digest the information that I'm going to give you. You're able to then, be able to ask other questions instead of everybody just calling you right away. That soft pull I use to be able to, I use it with your income in order to take a look at your calculations, see how much you can qualify for. And then we have that, that 5-10 minute conversation where I review your loan, an approval process, what it means to have a payment, a rate, all those items. So that's the soft pull without you having to go through a hard inquiry and have that part of the information being released out there.
Hey, real
That's
quick,
what happens.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Because we talked to someone and they gave us at the time.
Yeah.
They gave us a quote, and then all these people started calling, and I'm saying, "What?
Yeah.
Okay."
That's the way. Yeah, and that's why I do it this way. That way, you have time to digest. I can have, a good way to show you what you qualify for and go through that process. And then if you are shopping around, then you're able to at least have now the time, and it's on your time frame instead of everybody just calling you and texting you and just interrupting your day. So
well, actually, at
process.
that point, I kind of pulled out and said, "Oh, the hell with this!" Because it got to be. What? I ain't called you. I didn't call you either. I didn't call you.
Right. It becomes very much like you become afraid of the process, and you're like, "What just happened?" You know? So definitely, it's not something that we want, which is why I do the soft pull. But lenders don't do that because they want to make you feel like you're committed to them. They feel like, well, I already did a hard inquiry. You got to go with me. And that's the bad part of the business. That's why it's one of those sales tactics that they use, and it's unfortunate. But I like to just do the other way. It allows for more of a consultation approach and just really more understanding.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
That sounds more in line with someone who really wants to help someone.
Yeah. And like I said, and then at that point, you're more informed. Any new information after that, you're going to be much better off because it's on your time.
Yes.
Yeah, and the other good thing about doing the soft pull is that, let's just say, if you had another, adult child that maybe, let's say you had two, and maybe one of them, their credit wasn't that good, but the other one, their credit was much better, then you can do the soft pull and do the comparison with, child A versus child B, and see which scenario is going to work out best, what interest rate is going to benefit you more, because the better the FICO, the better the rate. So with the soft pull, you can have that opportunity to make the comparison and see, is it beneficial to add your child, or is it maybe beneficial not to? And so it gives you an opportunity to take your time and not feel like, okay, my credit was just pulled. Now I got to make a decision. Now I got to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So it gives you time to really ease into it so that you're doing it in more of a calm fashion, so you have that time to think about it and talk to us along the way so that we can help guide you and answer any questions you have.
And reminder, Gustavo, how much do you charge for that soft pull and the consultation?
Yeah, it's basically free.
Whoa,
so it's a great price.
0.099.
Yeah.
My favorite, free 99. I love
Yeah.
that.
$3.99.
$3.99. It's one of the
Okay.
few things that has stayed low during this inflation period.
Okay.
Nice, Rhonda. There you go. In fact, Rhonda, I'm going to buy you one just because I like you so much. So please, Gustavo, put it on my tab.
Okay, we'll do so.
Thank you. So generous, Bill. So generous.
Hey, that's what I live here for. I'm here to please. I'm here to be of service. Okay.
Well, I have gotten a lot of information. I have been kind of with you guys as much as possible, getting the information, which, my daughter, and I said, come last week, get on here, listen. And that's when I didn't know. That was when it didn't show. She said there wasn't nobody there. I said, oh no, it had to be somebody there.
I feel bad.
But no, please don't, because life shows up and things happen. And I appreciate that you guys have been constantly here, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you show up today and you're not here tomorrow. So I said, I'll keep trying because it's still on my schedule.
I think it's so important, Rhonda. I think there's so many people who give you advice and then one day they're just gone. And usually it's because somebody's chasing them. And I've been in this business 36 years. My phone number is on everywhere I can put it. My email's everywhere I can put it. I'm not hiding from anybody. I got nothing. Nobody's suing me. Nobody's chasing me. I don't have any money. I think that's true about Patricia. Gustavo, I don't know. He's a little shady. But my point is, I think we're here because we're willing to put ourselves on the line every day to be of service to customers. We're not some big company that's hiding behind the internet and hiding behind anonymity. And I think that's my mission personally. And I know that you appreciate that. So Rhonda, thank you for playing with us. Appreciate it.
Oh, I do. I appreciate it. I try to get anyone who think about property or anything to at least come in and check you guys out and get answers to questions, because I be trying to get people to buy property. It's the one thing that you can pass on to your children that you can pass on to your children.
Yeah.
The cars break down, everything breaks down, but value goes up, slow or fast. And so if they have a job that they've been in for a while, especially my female friends, I said, go buy you something. And she just told me, said, I owe taxes the first time. And I said, because you don't owe nothing.
Right.
You got to have something.
Right.
And still trying to pull teeth, getting her to go buy. I said, buy a duplex and some of your rent. Anyway, sometimes it's like preaching to the choir.
It's like talking to your kids, right?
Yeah, sometimes it is. Like, okay,
yeah,
I give.
I'm with you on that. Hey, I can't read the bottom of your shirt. It looks like it looks. We rise. What is it?
Above racism, Department of Mental Health Helpline.
Well, your shirt doesn't rise above the camera line where you can read it. It just for all the rising above you do. There you go. That's rising above. But before you were being held back. Now you're rising above. Okay, very good. Okay, this is too much fun. Hey, this is real estate. We're supposed to be serious. What the heck's going on? Rhonda, you're bad. Rhonda, you're a bad influence on us. You gotta get serious, lady.
I am serious. That's why it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because you are serious, but you're not on most of the time there's a what do you call them? Pictures on the side where they're telling you to read this while they
like
continue
a
to talk.
Yeah. Or a webinar.
Like yes.
And
those are boring.
They are boring.
You got to be live. You got to be in the moment. And we don't even ever have a script about what we're going to talk about because it truly is live, real time. We invite, guests to come on and ask questions. And every day, there's a different scenario. As Bill said, the real estate market is always changing. Interest rates are changing every day. And so the information is also needing to be updated. And so we provide that information. And we have fun doing it because we're full-time real estate professionals and this is what we love to do.
And this is one of the things I appreciate because I was told that both of us had to be first-time home buyers. And at one point, and then someone else would say, well, no, you got to do it this way. And I said, well, I don't want to live on a property. I just want to help her buy the property. And so yes, it's you've been giving hope to a person who has been trying to get this for at least a year, trying to maneuver and get the right information on her buying something that will eventually take care of her.
Right.
Right.
You know, because I'm really ready for her to move out.
Uh-oh.
I am too.
She said I am too. Oh, she's chiming in now.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. She's right too. You know, I think in defense of where you're talking to, Rhonda, different lenders have different rules. And sometimes you work with a bank and it feels, wow, they're a big bank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, but they have one set of rules. And it may or may not work for you. And the advantage Gustavo has is he works with multiple. So I'm sure he could name off several banks that can finance her. You don't care about those. He's just telling you, well, I know one that can, and that's where he's going to take your package to. So that's the advantage of working with some flexibility with a mortgage banker like Gustavo rather than a lender. It sounds like, well, I'm closer to the money. Believe me, Bank of America is not leaving a penny on the table for you.
Yeah.
Believe me.
So I have a question.
Well, who are you?
I am her daughter, Brittany.
Hey, Brittany, what's up? We've been talking all about you here for about an hour.
I know.
We're all in your business. We're all in your business, Brittany.
So I have stocks, and one person say that you can't use it as income, another person says you can use them as income. So I'm just trying to figure out the truth on that.
Gustavo.
And what is it that you have again?
Stock.
I have stock.
Oh, okay.
And it's your stock income. She gets Brittany, dividends.
Dividends. There you go. So it's dividend income that's reported in your tax returns.
Yeah.
And have you been receiving the income for 2 years on your tax returns?
Yes.
Gustavo?
So it shows on my tax return.
Yeah. So the big thing is with any income you have that is not your W-2 check stub, all that. You know, if it's like this dividends and you have it on your taxes, that's what we want to use. You know, we want to go ahead and take a look at that. When people are looking to withdraw from their 401k, right? We look at the balance there. We look at options that they can withdraw. How liquid is something? So there's definitely options for you. So it would be a matter of taking a look at your taxes. It would be taking a look at, you know, your scenario and being able to say, yes, we can do this. We can use this income. So right now, it doesn't sound like anything, you know, out of this world in order to use it. So I'm not sure why they told you couldn't. But, you know, as your mom mentioned, everybody goes through a different qualification process. They know that, you know, they have a different risk tolerance. Each lender has a different risk tolerance. But with that said, you know, close to 70% of the loans go to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So we all kind of play with the same rules, but still banks add additional layers onto those guidelines. So just during this call, I was looking at the guidelines here as we were talking to your mom about the non-occupant co-borrower, and I'm looking at them right here, and it says, you know, 3.5% down if it's a family member that's going to be helping you buy that, you know. So it's something that it can be very clear.
Sorry, let me interrupt you. Yeah. What website are you on? Just so the viewers that are watching can.
Oh, this is just my internal where I have a list of collection. Yeah, so I have a collection through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, but I can send it over. But this is
as long as you got it, because I'll just misplace it. So
yeah, no, but this is what, you know, we go through on our side. Yes, we work with the lender and they tell us, you know, yes or no, but we also do our due diligence and we check it. And this is where I come across the lender and say, no, look, the guidelines are this. So why are you not allowing for this income, or why you're not allowing for this borrower type or property type? What is wrong with it? And then, well, because it comes from an underwriter. Your underwriter approves your loan, and they will interpret those guidelines in a certain way. And every underwriter is different, and they're taught to follow the guidelines. But sometimes, you know, we have to go through additional approvals. But that's where we have to do our research, and we look up the information, and we say, no, look, I got the guidelines, here they are, and I can present them to the lender. So yes, you can do that duplex, with a 3.5%. You can be a family member. You can be a non-occupant co-borrower. So these are the things that can help you out.
I think a couple of times people get in trouble with stock is they'll have stock that they have dividends on, but they're going to sell a chunk of it for the down payment. So obviously you can't continue to get income if you're selling the stock. So you have to make that distinction, what your plan is or where your assets are, number one. Number two, the dividends often are raised each year. And so you might need the current dividend income to qualify, but the income last year when you filed 2021 and 2020 might be much lower. So one of the things you want to do is have even if you haven't filed yet, in California, we're not obligated to file to October 16th, normally April 15th. But depending on what county you live in. But you get 1099s from your investment company.
Mm-hmm.
So even though the loan officer might not ask for those, you might want to get them for this year, because if you haven't filed your tax return for 2022 yet, which you're not obligated to have yet, but you might want the higher income on the 1099. So I would include that, as well as a statement that shows how much stock you have. Because, and again, I don't know your particular case, but like in my case, I'm with a company that gives me stock based on certain performances. So I have more stock now than last year, the year before, and 2 years ago. And the dividend rate's gone up. Well, I don't want to use my tax returns for the last 2 years that haven't filed, so 21 and 20. I don't want to use those. I want to use 21 and 22. And then I want to show my current stock holdings with the current dividend rate. And the underwriter can look at that and use that rate now because they know the stock and the history of it. So again, it depends on your plan. That's why you want to meet with Gustavo and have the consult and the soft credit pull, which again, Gustavo, how much does that cost? I bought one for Rhonda. She can give to Brittany. How much does that cost again?
Well, just for the special for today, it's going to be free.
Well, for Rhonda, it's free.
For Rhonda, it's free, yeah.
Okay, I bought it for her.
Yeah.
So, Brittany, I think the answer is check out the details of your stock. Is always, the answer is usually yes, if, or yes, but. So we don't care what the right answer is for everybody else. You care about the answer for you, right, Brittany? Yeah. And Brittany wants to get out of the house, and Rhonda wants her out. So we want to get the right answer for Brittany as fast as we can, right, Brittany?
I'm so sorry. I just got home. Yes.
Yeah.
And now you can hear the echo.
Yeah. Hey, we got some other chat box comments about, don't forget when you buy the property, make sure you put it in a trust. One of the things I'm very involved with is estate planning, and it's very inexpensive. Even if you do a full estate plan, you can at least create a trust, put the property in the trust, and that way you avoid probate. We use trustandwill.com as a preferred provider for a basic low-cost trust. But if you need a referral to a estate planner who can take a more holistic approach to you personally and your personal issues, reach out to me. I'd be more glad to get more information and make the right referral for you. Jill Spady says, you're a great mom, Rhonda. And so we agree, and it sounds like you're doing good with Brittany, but we want Brittany out of the house. So we're going to do our best to help you with that. As good a mom as you are. And then the other Facebook user says, is there a risk with stock price fluctuating? And this is another issue. I don't know if Brittany's still there or not, but another issue with stock, which is, unfortunately, sometimes people enter an escrow and they have a stock and they know what it's worth and they make a plan. And then something happens, that stock drops in price. If it's a big company, 25%. If it's a small company, maybe I've seen in half or even 80% drops. So you have to think about when you're going to sell it, or if you're not selling it, if you can qualify, you qualify for it. But this is more if you're using the stock for your down payment. You want to think about, well, when do you want to liquidate it? Do you want to wait till the last minute because you think the stock's going to do well, or you're anxious to cut it and get out of it and know where you're at on it? So again, those are all strategies that you should meet with Gustavo during the consult and the soft credit pull, which Rhonda so generously is giving to you that I paid for her.
That's right. That's your gift for attending the home buyer workshop today.
There you go.
Exactly. Okay, let's wrap up here. I think we're a little over time. Rhonda, thank you. I think you're going to be our new co-guest host or co-star on the show. How's that sound?
That's right.
We pay you. Hey. We pay you. You get a free soft pull and consult each episode that you're on. So
that's right. And a free toaster for every referral.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot those price. They used to get them at the banks, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So Patricia's going to give a free toaster. So good. Good for you. Okay. Okay. So let's wrap up today, guys. What did we learn today? Rhonda, what did we learn today?
That I can buy a duplex with my daughter as a co-signer. Don't have to live there.
Yeah.
And get her out of the house.
And get her out of the house. My grandson really needs his own bedroom.
We love Brittany, but we love her more out of the house. I always tell people I'm a much better husband out of the house than I am at home with my wife. So Brittany's a better daughter out of the house. So we would make her very
absolutely.
Thanks, Rhonda, for joining us. Gustavo, what do you
I appreciate today, especially it was meant to be.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. And so, Gustavo, what did we learn today?
So, you know what? There's a lot of questions out there that it's still, in our industry, people can get confusing information. And I think it's one of those things that, keep going. If you didn't get the right answer, or if it doesn't feel good, or if you got one answer, ask somebody else, because you want to make sure that you're getting the right information.
That's right.
That's good advice for real.
Yeah.
Teresa, what did we learn today?
Well, the market is always changing and guidelines change as well. So it's always great to talk to professionals that are in this business full time, because we'll provide you with that information that's accurate and up to date. So if you heard something from an agent or a bank or whoever, last year or 6 months ago, just verify, because it could change.
And I learned today that Rhonda wants Brittany out of the house. So we're going to work on that as fast as we can. Hey,
so
look, guys.
We all rise above.
Exactly. Yeah. We all rise above the line, so we all can see on camera what's going on.
Exactly.
Hey, everybody, thank you so much for being on. We do this every Wednesday. We don't always have this much fun, but we always have Rhonda. So hopefully she'll come back next week. It's been a lot of fun today. We do this every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's also live streamed, YouTube, Facebook, and put your comments there. We'll get back to you. Jill, thanks for jumping in on the Facebook side of things. And Gustavo and Rhonda and Patricia, thank you so much. And we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Good evening.
Bye-bye.